So yesterday I did a sermon entitled Obedience and Sacrifice. And as my late pastor, Dr. Donnell Reedus, used to say, you gotta first let the word cut you and then go and bleed on the people. And so as I preached that message, I preached it knowing that I needed to grow in my faith and obedience to God. And I mentioned towards the end the song by Jonathan McReynolds called Make Room. And in the song he's constantly saying he's gonna move this over, his sin, whatever sin is in his life, he's gonna move it over because he wants to make room for him and Jesus alone. He wants to just make room for just the two of them. And so in order to make room, he has to get rid of some stuff in his life. He has to sacrifice some stuff in his life in order to allow Jesus in. Because what we fail to realize is that God cannot fellowship with sin. He cannot have a relationship with sin. We get into the habit of thinking that our sin is acceptable to God. And it's not. He really cannot accept sin. That's the whole point of him sending Jesus, so that he can mend that broken relationship we had with him because of sin. So I ask you today, what are you moving over? What are you getting out the way? What are you going to move out to make room for Jesus? Is it your porn addiction? Is it your adultery? Is it your lying? Is it your gossiping? Is it your pride, your ego? Is it your money, your car, your house? What are you going to move over to make room for God? How are you going to be obedient? What are you going to sacrifice for him so that you can make room in your heart? Because he can't share you with sin. He's not going to share you with sin. So what are we moving over? What are we sacrificing? Who's with me that's going to be obedient to God and sacrifice those things that aren't good for us, that aren't pleasing to him? Who's going to give it up? Some of the things we do, some of the sins we do are fun. I understand. There are some things that I enjoy doing that God calls sin. And so I had to move that stuff out of my life. And I'm urging each and every one of you to move sin out of your life and make room for God who's with me.